Okay, children, today we'll read The Gift of India, the poem written by Sarojini Naidu. The Gift of India by Sarojini Naidu, it is a tribute to the contribution of Indian soldiers who fought alongside Britain in World War I. It captures the selfless sacrifices of the Indian soldiers from the perspective of a mother who lost her sons in the war. And here, children, in this poem, India is personified as a mother. Like a war poem, it captures the brutality of war and its consequences. The poem The Gift of India by Sarojini Naidu sounds like an appeal made by Mother India to the world to remember the contribution of Indian soldiers during World War I. It is surcharged with the emotional outpouring of a mother, reminiscence on how her children fought and died during World War I. And in the first stanza itself, the poet regards all the benefits of raiment, grain, and gold unearthed and taken away across the world as gifts from India. The second stanza pictures the pathetic situation of those who lost their lives miles apart from home. The third stanza briefs on the grief brought home by their death. Finally, in the fourth stanza, children, the poet or the speaker appeals to honor the sacrifices of Indian soldiers. This poem is a simple and elegant poem written in 24 lines, divided into four 6-line stanzas. Each stanza of the poem is complete in itself, despite its connectedness with the central theme. The first two lines of each stanza introduce an idea, and the next two lines build upon them. The final two lines serve a conclusion for the stanza. The poem follows a simple and rhyme scheme of AA, BB, and CC. Ends the rhymes throughout the poem. Now, the poem and its setting, it is set on the main theme of the unrecognized sacrifice made by Indian soldiers during World War I. Each of the four stanzas present the theme in detail by focusing individually on the rich gifts of Mother India, the valiant death of Indian soldiers, grief caused by the death of the soldiers, and a fervent appeal to the world to remember the supreme sacrifice. Now, the setting of the poem runs on World War I, children. Millions of soldiers, as you know, from British India went across nations to fight, and thousands of them died too. All the colonies of Britishers, children, they all had to forcefully go and join the British Army to fight in the World War I. Since the warriors died miles apart and their bodies were buried at the alien, strange land of miles apart from their homes. So, at that time, all the countries of the world, children, they wanted that their soldiers should be remembered, and those soldiers who died unrecognized, we never knew who were they had died in the alien countries, and we never know where their dead bodies were, children. They were buried in the battlefield, in the battleground. So this poem is just a homage paid to those unrecognized soldiers who died in an alien country, in a foreign country. We begin with the first stanza, children, today. Is there aught you need that my lands withhold? Rich gifts of raiment or grain or gold? Lo, I have flung to the east and west priceless treasures torn from my breast, and yielded the sons of my stricken womb to the drumbeats of duty, the sabers of doom. So, this is already, I told you, children, Mother, that is Mother India. It's her cry. She is telling that the that is as a mother, she who loves and longs for her children sent to war. The tone in the stanza reflects the disappointment and anger of the speaker. She asks if there is anything that was withheld by her, such as raiment or grain or gold. Now, this stanza, children, it begins with a rhetorical question. Here, the poet personifies India as a mother. Is there aught you need that my hands withhold? Rich gifts of raiment or grain or gold. The first line as a question. Then she asks if there is anything that was withheld by her, such as raiment or grain or gold. She has sent the priceless treasures, she wants to tell, torn from her breast. It is symbolically meaning the way it was taken away forcefully. All the people, now Indians, they never wanted to go. Indian soldiers, and especially children, this was headed by your Subhash Chandra Bose. He never wanted to go to fight for the Britishers. So they were taken forcefully to the countries of the east and west. Moreover, she has sent her sons to the faraway lands to fight in the battle. The sabers of doom represents the nature of the war and the destruction that could happen in its wake. So she says, like it was, children, at that time when these intellectuals are in our country, the leaders, children, they only had signed a treaty that if you give us freedom, we will be we'll send the soldiers along with your army, British army, to your place where you have announced for the proclaimed for or declared for the war with the First World War. So our country, the soldiers of our Indian country, that is India's soldiers, they will be fighting for you people. So, and Britishers, children, they agreed to it, but in a very different way. They agreed to it that they will be okay. They will be giving us in return the freedom. So independence, children. But then Subhash Chandra Bose, he said this is all not true. They have not, they have just simply, they have signed the treaty, but they will never do it, because altogether our soldiers, they won't return, they will die there. So he was against it. That's why he was called as a terrorist at that time, children, that he was against. He was standing in right in between the government at that time and your Indian National Congress and your Britishers, children. So it happened that Mother India, she had sent her sons far away to these lands to fight the battle, but she never wanted to send. It was carried away forcefully, children. So first stanza tells you about it. Then the stanza 2. Gathered like pearls in their alien graves, silent they sleep by the Persian waves, scattered like shells on Egyptian sands, they lie with pale brows and brave broken hands. They are strewn like bosom mown down by chance on the blood-brown meadows of Flanders and France. And finally, in the second stanza, children, the speaker pictures the sacrifice of Indian soldiers made in the alien lands and the horrors of war and war fronts in a rich poetic language, children. The poet uses imagery and metaphor. You can see here, you can spot out to distinguish the sacrifice made by Indians. The similes, gathered like pearls and scattered like shells, denotes the careless treatment given to the bodies of the soldiers. The terms alien graves, Persian waves, Egyptian sands, and the Flanders and France in the stanza explicitly present how the soldiers are buried far away from home, from the dear and near ones. The painful image of death and suffering is given in the description. Lie with pale brows and brave, broken hands. In the last line, the poet metamorphically compares the warriors to blossoms and the battlefield to battle brown meadows, detailing the anguish of the speaker who realized that they died by chance fighting someone else's war. So, for today, children, we'll end up here. We have stanza 3 again, and then we have stanza 4. So, stanza 3 and 4 in the next video, children. Thank you and have a nice day.